I don't know where you find yourself today, but I felt really encouraged to send a message. And I don't even know what I'm about to say, but I was just laying on my bed and I was looking through my old SSD. I don't delete my videos when I record stuff, even if it's just garbage and I messed up or I was just testing something. I kind of just keep everything because you never know what you're going to need. But in any case, I was laying on my bed and I was reviewing some of my very first videos that I ever recorded, way before I even made a YouTube channel. It was when I knew I wanted to start doing something, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was just, listening to myself. And I just saw the amount of growth that I've experienced from the person that I was when I made that video. I mean, that was back in the very beginning of 2025. So this would have been January 2025, maybe December 2024. This was, a year and a half ago. And that was kind of in a very dark time for me. It was a very dark time in my life. And it got worse, actually, after. My life just came crumbling apart. Identity crisis, me going through a quarter life crisis, really, like trying to think of who Andrew is and really just trying to understand myself as a person. And I remember thinking back then that my life was over. I had achieved all these cool things from an outside perspective on paper. I was working in big tech as a software engineer. I was making a lot of money. And, I had everything I needed, really a great apartment, a girlfriend, friends, family, everything was taken care of. But yet I felt so empty. And when I went through a breakup later with that girl that I was dating, it completely destroyed me. It completely wrecked me. I thought my life was over in that moment. Like there was no recovery that I was going to be able to make because I felt so empty inside. I felt so lost. Like I didn't know who I was. And the message that I feel compelled to turn on my camera and speak right now is that it is not over. It is never over. And when I thought in the moment that it was over, that's all I felt. I was having a bad day. I was ready to call the hotline. I didn't know who I was. I was in a very dark place. Let's put it that way. And at that time in my life, I thought it was over. And I'm thinking back on it now like it was all in God's hands. If you don't know who I am, my name is Andrew, and I used to be a software engineer. I currently am starting my own company, and I am using the skills I learned in software to build my own startup. And I'm also recording social media videos, and I'm figuring this whole world out of posting content. And I intend on using social media as a platform to both document my life and also use it as, a liftoff at advertising, so to speak, for the startup that I'm building. But I do feel like going through all this darkness, I feel a calling on my heart to be able to speak to others who are struggling out there. Not that I have it all figured out. I definitely don't. But I think I have some things to share that might be useful for you. So I don't have a script. I didn't write out what I was going to talk about for this video. But in fact, I didn't even know what I wanted to say, other than I had this thought in my head that it is never over. And when I watched that video of myself on my bed, I was thinking about those dark times that I was in and the dark times that were soon to follow after that, and how much growth I was going to encounter, and how in the moment I thought it was over. And looking back on it now, I realized that was the beginning. That was the beginning of where everything changed, my entire life. That's when I stopped living this life that could no longer sustain me. I needed to change myself. I needed to give my life to Jesus Christ and surrender everything. And he would completely transform it. And I'm still in the midst of that transformation. But I don't know where you are with your faith. I don't know where you are with God. I don't want to make this particular video about that. But what I want to say and give you encouragement for is it is not over. I don't know what you're going through today. I don't. And perhaps it's a lot worse than anything I've ever experienced. But it doesn't really matter, because when I look back on my life of various times when I was going through a lot of trials, every time I thought, like, oh, this is so hard, until later when something even harder would come. And I'm kind of seeing that as like a life lesson. We're all going to be going through these trials. We're all going to be going through these things that are really hard. And not to say that you're going to struggle forever, because life is full of joy. It's full of happiness. But I mean, of course, we have those seasons of pain, those seasons of suffering. But in a way, that creates strength. It kind of transforms us into who we need to become, to step into the next chapter of life that's waiting for us. So my encouragement, my thought for right now, and why I'm filming this, is it is not over. I don't know what you're going through, but just know that you will get through this. And there is something to learn through this whole process. I really do believe that everything happens for a reason. I really do believe that the trials we face create perseverance. And there are lessons that we need to learn in order to step up and become who we're supposed to be. And if you can get to this perspective in your mind of, I know life is hard right now. I know this is very challenging. In fact, it may be so dark you can't see the light. But I'm sure you've been through this before. I'm sure you've had moments where it was hard and yet you got past it. It's not over. It's not over. So I want to give you that encouragement. I want you to remember that there is good to come. The darkest night is just before dawn. Very powerful quote. And yeah, keep going. Keep pushing. Don't stop. Don't quit. And I don't know what I'm doing with this YouTube channel, but what I feel called to do, what I feel in my heart is like, wow, I want to speak to some people who are struggling out there. Like, I was in a boat where I was struggling so much, and I looked up to other people online who, not that they had everything figured out, but there were little pieces that I picked up from them that helped me in my life. And boy, I would love to do the same if I could help even a single person out there get through something that they're struggling with. That's a massive, amazing thing that we're all capable of doing. We should all be helping each other, So yes, I don't know what you're going through, but what I do know is it's not over, and it's going to be okay.